Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hey, it is that time. I've got my 2020 Jeep Gladiator behind me here, and it is mandatory for every YouTuber that we talk about at least 5 things that we don't like about our new vehicle. Now, in all seriousness, you know, nothing's perfect, right? And there are 5 things that I'm really not digging about my new Jeep Gladiator back here. I won't go as far as to say I hate them, but I really don't like them too much. So the first one we're going to start off with is the lack of touch entry. You know, we have this key here, right here, and I actually hang it from my belt. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there is no touch entry. You walk up and nothing happens, right? Now, maybe there are on some of the upper trim levels, I don't know, but on the Sport S, there is no touch entry, which I find is strange because we do have push start. So they gave us push start, but no touch entry. So you still have to fumble around with this key fob. That is one thing that drives me nuts, a little bit of a pet peeve for me. I think every vehicle should be touch entry these days. Okay, next up, kind of going right along with no touch entry, is the size of the Jeep key. I mean, look at this thing. It is massive. I mean, this is my hand. It pretty much takes up my whole palm. I mean, I don't have tiny hands. I'm not, you know, 7'2", but it is a massive key, and it is kind of heavy. And you know, one other thing I've discovered about this, and it's true with my wife's key as well, is this key, the actual key part here, always flips out, right? It's in your pocket, it flips out. Now it's sticking you in the side of the leg, right? It happens to me all the time, and it's because if you carry this key in your pocket, this button always gets pushed. So you always have to contend with this thing, and it can be sharp in there, poking you in the leg. Kind of a drag. Now, one thing that I've done is put this little carabiner on here. And I did that so that I can fasten this thing to my belt loop. Let's see, we'll pull this up right here, and you just kind of push it in and stick it right there on your belt. That way I can carry it around like this. Now it does bang around there a little bit, but that's not too big of a deal, and it gives me a way to easily carry this giant key around with me and stop that metal part from flicking out and stabbing me in the pocket. Okay, next up has to do with windows. And this is kind of a plus and minus. You know, if you get down here to the center area, you of course have your windows. You push the button, just push it in, and the window goes down all by itself. Pretty cool, right? Come back over here, flick the button, and this is what happens. And you flick the button again, and that's what happens. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is this guy talking about? I'm talking about the lack of auto up windows or one touch windows. You know, we have one touch down. Why in the world does Jeep, or at least this version, not come with one touch up? Do you have to go to the next trim level and spend another, I don't know, 10 grand to get one touch up windows? Is it too much to ask? That's a pretty big pet peeve of mine. Not my biggest, we're saving that one for last, but right up there. Okay, this next one, I really just noticed after I'd had this Jeep for maybe about a week or so. And that is the size of the mirror. Look at this thing. It's tiny. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys are noticed, maybe that has one, but the mirror is tiny, especially given the size of this truck. It just doesn't look right sitting in here, and it doesn't give me the full view that I want. I think it needs to be a little bit taller. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like it's too small. Both that one and the one over there on the other side. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger, especially given that this is a truck. Okay, we have reached number 5. By far. Then this one I really do hate, I guess. I know I said in the beginning that I don't hate these. This one I really do hate. And what it has to deal with is this button right here. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Jeep at least did give us this button, but if you're familiar, then you know that that is the button to disable stop start, right? Now, I hate stop start technology, right? I don't like pulling up the stoplights and having the Jeep shut off. It drives me insane. And I've even said before that, you know, I wouldn't buy another vehicle with stop start, but these days, to get what you want, you really don't have a choice. And I think there's a day coming where you won't have any choice. All vehicles will have stop start because of this crazy government mandate that they've got to meet, I don't know, some sort of mileage requirement. And this is kind of the way that the manufacturers are trying to accomplish that, I guess. Now, as I said, I am thankful that they still give us a button to be able to push so that we can disable that. The only issue I have is that you can't permanently disable it. And I don't know why, since the button's there and you can turn it off every time if you want, why there isn't an option to permanently disable it via a button or a setting yourself in your own vehicle. Now, some of you might say, you're just whining and complaining. What's the big deal? You push the button. You know, it's not that big a deal. It's just annoying that I even have to screw with it to begin with, and that I have to do it every time I start or restart the Jeep. Kind of a drag. Now, one thing I will tell you, in the real world, my mother has this exact same Jeep, right? Different color, exactly the same otherwise. She uses the stop start, and she's getting almost 2 miles per gallon less than I do, and I don't use that feature. So how well does it really work? I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder, right? Anyway, I just wanted to get on here. These are all pretty much trivial things, except for that stop start, that I don't like about the Jeep Gladiator, that I wish they would change up a little bit. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if there's something you don't like about the Gladiator and why. Also, don't forget to check out my other channel. If you're into the 2020 Toyota Tacoma, mods and stuff, my other channel is Rob Motive, and I do all kinds of things with my 2020 Tacoma there. Check that out. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell on this channel so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, it is that time because, you know, every YouTuber must mandatorily, what?